I just wanted to share this video today to pump some faith into your life. This is a crazy, crazy time. I mean, we show up at Sam's Club and all the chicken is gone, all the toilet paper is gone, and I just don't know what people are thinking. It's a respiratory illness and they just want to eat some chicken. It's a crazy world. And so in the middle of this storm that we have where we're shutting down everything, even including not being able to meet as Celebrate Recovery, not being able to meet as a church, the world is just crazy. How do you handle this storm? I mean, you're stuck in your house. If you're lucky, you get to go to work. How do you handle in the midst of this turmoil, this storm? And I just think that once again, this book has an answer. I'm going to turn to a time when the disciples had a storm in their life, and I want you to see how they reacted, and maybe we can learn some life lessons from that. You see, in the middle of the storm, they discovered that Jesus was still there for them. Let's read it. Luke chapter 8, verse 22. One day, Jesus and his disciples got into a boat, and he told them, "Let's cross over to the other side of the lake." So they set out. And as they were sailing, he fell asleep. Then a fierce windstorm came down on the lake. They were being swamped and were in danger. They came and woke him up saying, "Master, Master, we're going to die." Then he got up and he rebuked the wind and the raging waves. So they ceased and they were calm. And he said to them, "Where is your faith?" They were fearful and amazed, asking one another, "Who then is this? He commands even the winds and the waves, and they obey him." I want you to notice a few things, that while Jesus was in the boat, the storm still came. Having Jesus in your life does not mean you're not going to have storms and craziness of life. I mean, we can all attest to that. But what happens when Jesus is in your life, you know that you have some work to do. See, the disciples, while the storm was raging, first had to do their part. He was asleep, so they had to do all the work around the boat. Now, if you don't know this, because we're in the mighty Midwest, there's not a lot of lakes and bodies of water, bodies of water all around. But I got to tell you, my cousin PJ down in Florida owns his own cleaning boat company. He actually dives down under the boats, cleans off the barnacles, and redoes people's docks and fixes people's boats for a living. It takes a lot of work to keep your boat up. And the question is for us, when it comes to our storm and we're in the middle of it, how's your boat? Are you doing the parts that you know Jesus wants you to do? You know, it's real simple. I think when it comes to this life that we have, that is our boat, that we're swimming in, that we're not having to swim, but we're able to stand up on the dock. This life is simple things. Like when the CDC tells you to wash your hands, wash your hands. I mean, for real. And stay away from people, 6 feet apparently. Just wash your hands and do that simple thing. That's part of keeping your boat together. Then there's also the spiritual element, you know? Like, hey, are you taking the time out to read your word? Are you taking the time out to pray? And then are you connecting with other people? We live in such a time where this little device allows us to connect with people all across the country. This has never happened before in our lives. This storm, the type that we're in, has never happened. And this technology that we have has never happened. We can easily connect with people online and check in and see how they're doing. So who do you need to check in on? See, once they were busy doing their part, then the miracle happened. They ran to Jesus like a bunch of knuckleheads. They're like, "Oh, we're going to die." No, Jesus wasn't going to have none of that. Notice he didn't even say anything to him. He just got up, probably wiped the eye boogers out of his eyes. Yeah, the Son of God had eye boogers. He was fully human, also fully God. And he got up and he went over to the storm and said, "Peace." Everything calm. Then he turned to them and said, "Where is your faith?" See, that's the second part of this. Not only do we need to do our regular part, connecting with people, making sure we're doing the right things, taking the time out to pray and read, but we also need to ask ourselves, where is our faith in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic? Where are we? Because notice what their faith led them to ask. It says they were fearful and amazed, asking one another, who then is this, that even the winds and the waves obey him? I think it's real important that in the middle of being self-quarantined at home, in the middle of this craziness of life, that we still ask, who is this Jesus? So I'm going to share with you some of the things I know about Jesus. I'm going to read this list that I wrote, and I just want to share with you. To the abused, he's the one who makes you whole. If you feel attacked, he's the one who's your advocate. To the bonded, he's the redeemer. To the confused, he's the author and perfecter of faith. To those who feel like they're dead inside, he is the life. To those who are in debt, he's the final payment. To the depressed, he's the peace giver. To the destroyed, he's the rebuilder. To those who need power, he's the Alpha and the Omega. To the exhausted, he's the refreshing dew. To the fatherless, he is Abba, Daddy. To the fragile, he is the power. To the questioning, he's the giver of wisdom. To the homeless, he's the cornerstone of the mansion. To the hungry, he's the bread of life. To the ill, he's the oil of anointing. To the imprisoned, he is the key to freedom. To the impure, he even became sin. To the lame, he is the friend filled with faith. To the leaderless, he's the good shepherd. To the lonely, he's the unfailing friend. To the lost, he's the bright and morning star that you can follow. To the misplaced, he's the compass. To the naked, he is the white garment. To those walking in darkness, he's the light of the world. To the orphan, he is the adoption. To the ridiculed, he is the rewarder. To the seeker, he's the source of truth. To the sick, he's the great physician. To the sinful, he is the forgiver. To the thirsty, he is everlasting water. To the ugly, he's the rose of Sharon. To the unfulfilled, he is the supplier of every need. To those with no security in life, he's the one who holds you down as the anchor of faith. To the unpopular, he is the glory. To the unsatisfied, he is the experience. To the unsure, he's your prayer. To the unworthy, he's the high priest. To the wanderer, he is the way, the truth, and the life. And to the weary, he's the giver of strength. And as the storm clamors on, and Jesus hasn't yet said, peace, be still. There'll come a time when that happens. My question to you is this. How do you answer that question? Who is this that even the waves and the winds obey him? Who is this Jesus to you? Because how you answer that is going to determine how you make it in this great storm.